regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
I'm wondering if you would like to explain to us, the American people, really why the information that you provided turned out not to be true.
And I answered this question on Monday. We spent about 30 minutes on this, almost 30 minutes, roughly 30 minutes on this particular issue. And I'm just...
And we back with some more current events. This right here has to do with Karine Jean-Pierre. She's about to be pressed at the briefing, and we already know how she does all the time, right? She's consistently running away from the questions, and she's never answering directly. She's always indirect, and she's just never straightforward, and there's never no accountability, and she's straight biased. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Sit back and react with your boy. If you like reactions like this, consider hitting that like button. Definitely subscribe to the channel and also hit the notification bell. Let's see how this is about to play out. Let's go.
I'm just not going to get ahead of the president. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals from here.
And then a different part of the question. In your first briefing here, as press secretary, you committed to speaking to the American people in, and I quote, in a transparent way, in a truthful way, and an honest way.
Yes.
And then in July, here at this podium, you were asked about the president pardoning his son, and he said, it's a no, it will be a no, it's a no.
Yes, and that is exactly right.
See what I'm talking about? They did the same thing with the pandemic, or should I say, they did the very same thing with the pandemic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen, Google is at your fingertips. You can just go and see for yourself. They always say something that they're not gonna do, but they end up doing it. I never forget the day that they told us, don't worry about it. It'll be your choice. It's your body. It's your choice. If you want it, go ahead and get it. If you don't want it, you don't need it. Forget about it, right? But then what happened? They started threatening us for our jobs, threatening us flying anywhere. I mean, anything you wanted to do, it was over with. You understand what I mean? So this is how they play the games with you. You understand? Of course, he said he wouldn't. However, listen, if I was in his shoes, I'd be doing the same thing too. So, hey, look, I can't knock it. Why would you knock it, huh? If you had that power, wouldn't you do it? Remember, when it comes to your children, you're gonna love them unconditionally. We see it a different way. Our reality is different from theirs.
President's son and that pardon, it became a yes. I'm wondering if you would like to explain to us, the American people, really why the information that you provided turned out not to be true.
And I answered this question on Monday. We spent about 30 minutes on this, almost 30 minutes, roughly 30 minutes on this particular issue. And I'm just going to reiterate what I said on Air Force One to your colleagues when I did the gaggle. And look, if you look at his statement, it's pretty comprehensive. The statement that he put out on Sunday when he made this decision to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. It's in his own voice. I think it takes you through his thinking, and he wrestled with this. And again, he said in his statement, in his own voice, that he made that decision this past weekend. And the fact is, when you think about how the president got to this decision, circumstances have changed. They have.
Circumstances have changed. Like what? Like Donald Trump winning the election? All right. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say he's going to go after his political opponents. You mean to tell me the same way they were going after him? Nah, I know you don't mean that.
A couple of things, and I said this on Monday as well. Republicans said they weren't going to let up, weren't going to stop. Recently announced Trump appointees for law enforcement have said on the campaign that they were out for retribution, and I think we should believe their words, right? We should believe what they say. The sentencing was coming up, as you all know. There was a sentencing coming up, and the president said this in his statement, that Hunter and his family had been through enough is enough, and he wrestled with these circumstances.
The only reason why she's a master at flipping the narrative, I'm telling you, she knows how to spin it. She's spinning you guys right now. Of course, it's easier to say. You see now, had it not been for Trump, they would have been stumped. as far as like, why are you doing that? Either way, he was going to attempt to do that. That's his son. Why not? You know what I mean? You're in a seat of power right now. Why not before it diminishes, right? However, the way she's spinning this is brilliant. She's putting all the blame on Trump. She's saying, well, you know, circumstances changed, and being that Trump won, we have to do this because, you know, he's going to go after his opponent, and, you know, the son is an opponent. No, he's not. You understand what I mean? What I really think happened is they had to sit down and say, what is the reason we could come up with why we can pardon him? And they said, oh, just use it for this reason. And it makes sense for them. You understand? I'm telling you, they love to spin stories.
These changing circumstances ultimately, and the combination of that, the president changing his mind and issuing, certainly led to the president changing his mind and issuing this pardon. And one thing that I do want to point to, which I think is important, is what Congressman James Clyburn said when he was interviewed. He said, I am absolutely okay with it. I don't know how many people urge him to do so, but I did. He seemed to be reticent about it. This is what Clyburn said when he spoke to the president 2 weeks ago. But I emphasized, continuing his quote, emphasized the fact that we as fathers have obligations to our children. So that was a conversation that the congressman himself had with the president two weeks ago, said that the president was reticent when he encouraged the president to do so. And this weekend, he thought about it, and he weighed, it was not an easy decision to come to, and he put out a comprehensive statement. And I would certainly, offer that up to folks out there who are wondering. I would say, please read the president's response to this in full.
I'm telling you, she's the master spinner. You understand? I love how they sit there and try to make it seem like, well, this is the reason why we're doing this. You know, it's because of him. So today they keep putting all the blame on Trump, and Trump still have yet to take over. So make it make sense. Explain it to me in the comments. Tell me, why is this going on? All I can say is that good riddance with this right here, because she is the biggest liar, pants on fire on the universe.
My colleagues said she false, just very specifically.
It's not only colleagues who watch this. There's also the American people.
Exactly.
So to be fair,
and they were told by you in July,
yeah,
that this would not happen, and it did. I'm saying, asking for yourself, not the president saying, but for yourself. Do you feel like you are owed an apology by the president? Do you owe an apology to the American people?
Zeke, I just laid out the president's thinking. The president laid it out himself in his own words. He did. He laid out how he wrestled with this decision. He said in his statement, as a president, as a father, he talked about how difficult it was to make this decision. He thought about it this weekend. He did. He thought about it this weekend. He wrestled with it. And there are some, factors, some real factors that he took into consideration.
MMA wrestle.
And that's why I keep saying folks should just take a look. Take a look. Read his statement. And I know what I said.
Oh, really?
I know what the president said. That is where we were at the time.
Okay.
That is where the president was at the time. I am his spokesperson.
So where is
this
he now?
Weekend, he thought about it. He wrestled with it. And made this decision. That's what I can tell the American people.
All I want to know is, did you give him some spinach? Did he have spinach? Yes or no? One thing I don't appreciate is that they turn the comments off on here. When people turn off the comments, they scared to hear the truth. Come on, where's the transparency? Where's the communication going, huh? Why are we stopping this? Are we that sensitive nowadays?
And I think I think the American people understand, and I think they understand how difficult this decision would be. And I would actually add, and I think it's important to note here as you're asking me these questions, important questions to ask, that there was a poll, a US Gov poll that came out, that some of you all reported on it. And it said 64% of the American people agree with the pardon. 64% of the American people.
So we get a sense
of where the American people are.
I don't agree
or
disagree. I would have did the same.
Poll, but it gives you a little bit of insight. 64% is nothing to sneeze at. But again, the president talked about this, his own words. He said this weekend he wrestled with this. This weekend he thought about this.
See the sign language
and
guy?
And he made this decision. And let's not forget,
hey,
we can't also forget what some of the legal experts and former prosecutors have all agreed on, many across the country.
Oh, yeah?
Have
What they
virtually
agreed on?
said no one would be criminally prosecuted with felony offenses with these facts, and they've all agreed. We've heard from many legal experts on this. You heard me quote the former Attorney General Eric Holder multiple times, I think about 8 times on Monday. No U.S. attorney would have charged this case given the underlying facts. Had his name been Joe Smith, the resolution would have been fundamentally and more fairly a declination, pardon warranted. And we've heard from many legal experts and also obviously a former U.S. attorney. Okay.
All of those things you laid out were known long before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And
They've been
many
knowing it.
Americans, in reflecting the 64%, certainly understand a father's point of view. But the president was declarative, you were declarative. You didn't give room for, depending on the outcome of the election or depending on the rhetoric coming from the potential next administration, the certainty with which the president and you portrayed the no pardon is part of where the question comes from. Because all the facts that you have outlined were well known in advance.
And I would add, there has been some circumstances that have changed this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Republicans not letting up, saying they won't stop. They're going to continue to do this. I mentioned the recent Trump appointees of legal enforcement positions, right? That said during the campaign they would have they were out for retribution, and so no reason to not take them for the word. I pointed at there was a sentencing coming up, as you all know.
That was well known.
I said there are multiple factors here. Not one thing led to this. Multiple factors, and if you look at all of these, it's a combination of reasons why the president wrestled with this over the weekend and made this decision.
Now that
Can't
you've had
take
time,
that
and the
serious.
president has had time to absorb how the public has responded to this, to think on it further, does he have any concerns about the fact that he had been so declarative
No.
and then granted this pardon?
He's old. He don't
It's clearly
care.
done, and many Americans understand as a father how he would do that. But does he have concern about his credibility or the impact it might have on future pardon decisions?
So, and I will also say, just to bring up Clyburn again, because I think it's important, right? Because you were asking me what we said over the summer. Clyburn spoke to the president 2 weeks ago, and the president, he said, this is Clyburn's words, the president was reticent when he tried to encourage him to pardon Hunter Biden. And I think that is his son, obviously, and I think that's important to note. Look, I would refer you back to the last couple of sentences in the president's statement, and I think it's important here where he talked about wrestling this and wanting to understanding that the American people are fair-minded, and talked about the importance of doing this and thinking about this over the weekend and coming to this decision and how he wrestled with it, and that was, I think, a message directly to the American people.
So, as you can see, she's spinning you guys all over again. I don't understand why they like to spin the whole situation. Look, at the end of the day, if you're upset that Biden, again, I'm against the Democratic mindset, the ones that's going on, especially out here today. I mean, there's no two same Democrats. However, they share the same ignorance. If that makes sense to you, well, as difficult as it sounds, that's how they come across to me. That's just my opinion. No offense to all people who are Democrat. I love everybody. Understand what I'm saying? So now check this out. For you to sit here and think that Biden was not going to pardon his son, you must have been smoking that ooh-wee, because it doesn't matter which party he was. You better bail out your son out of any situation if you have the power to do so. With that being said, let me know if you disagree or if you agree with the pardoning. Would you pardon your son? Would you have done the same thing if you was in position? I know I would have. Let me know in the comments. Run it up, flood it up. I'll see you guys on the next one.